Is this what it looks like to come out of hiding and be positive on the LCS for once? Oh my god. Like, legitimately, I cannot remember the last time that I saw the community at large overwhelmingly happy and optimistic about every change that was coming through from the LCS. And I'm mind blown. So let's talk about it. This morning, the LCS released their address courtesy of Mark Z and the article on the website. I'm actually going to be reading through the article with you all here for the first time. I've obviously watched the video live this morning, so I know the general lay of the land here. And honestly, it gave us pretty much everything I was hoping for. One thing that's still missing, but we will bring back the return of a favorite. I want to revisit this before we go into this whole thing. And this is my report card that I gave the LCS after listening to the November primer, or like the November announcement of the LCS returning. And these were the grades that I gave. So we will revisit them now that this whole thing is here. Like, this is all the information that we will know, and we will reassess as we go. First, Riot did the smart thing in this article, which is reintroduce everybody to the teams, because there was a ton of turnover across pretty much every team. It feels like we're going in this year more fresh than we have in a while, and luckily we're not using the LCS fresh tagline. It's just the LCS. God bless. You have the new team in Sentinels. DSG has retained their slot. FlyQuest is blown up. Team Liquid has changed 3 out of 5 players. I mean, pretty much the entire league is kind of just turned on its head for the most part, with the exception of C9, who wouldn't have changed, but they ended up picking up APA because Loki went back to Korea to be with family. If you want to read through the whole reintroduction of teams, go right ahead. I've got a bunch of other videos talking about it. Otherwise, enjoy. That's not the meat of this article. The format, as most of us know by this point, we're having an LCS lock-in tournament, which features a Swiss stage. The team that is 0-3 is eliminated, as well as one of the 1 and 2 teams coming out of it. So instead of just going like 3 wins before 3 losses, it is just play 3 rounds, and whatever your record is puts you into a pool, and then it seeds from there with tiebreakers happening between the 1 and 2 teams. Then you just go into a straight up playoff bracket. The interesting thing that I learned via this was clicking on, hey, tickets are available now. So what games or what days are we going to be in the studio? Because we still don't know the schedule yet, by the way. That assumedly will come out tomorrow, well, today when you're watching this, for the lock-in draw of who has that first round of matchups and who they assign to what days. But tickets, notably, we have opening weekend on January 24th and 25th. The next time after that appears to basically be like 2 straight weeks. You have the February 20th through the 22nd, and then the 27th through March 1st, with finals being on March 1st. And I will touch on this in a bit, but it's not a surprise that we are going to be in the studio more, especially towards the beginning of the year. The timing is always kind of lined up with that when it comes to Valorant, but the fact that it's the lock-in tournament kind of gives a little bit of breathing room and leeway with that. And again, I maintain the stance from the beginning. You give me more games and you give me more times in front of actual crowds beyond just LA, I will take that trade-off. So in this particular situation, yes, I will take that trade-off and play in the closet, even if I think you could go online and then add more games. That little bit greedy on that front, I know. I'll get back on topic. Spring and summer split, then we'll see a single round-robin best-of-3 into a playoff bracket. Similar to what we saw in 2024, I thought it worked really well. I thought it was very entertaining. Some people didn't. Some people weren't the biggest fans of it. I think it's just on us to promote it a little bit better. I think that's the ideal format for what we have with the time constraints that we have existing. Now let's go to the big one. All right, I've been preaching for this for a long period of time, and man, has it been overdue, but we are finally getting it. Roadshows are coming back with even better capacity. Mark Z in the video specifically noted that it will be more touch points outside of Los Angeles more times a year. Now, there's no information yet on where these roadshows are, whether it's team oriented, because they notably did leave the door open. They're not saying it's, hey, more finals roadshows. This could be a team oriented thing where like C9, TL, FlyQuest, and Sentinels all come together and say, hey, let's play our weekend's matches in front of people. Exactly what K Corp did and MKOI did and T1 and Genji, and like that's been the thing now. And I think there's a lot of value in that rather than just a finals weekend, assuming teams take the charge. But we obviously just don't have details at the moment. Now for finals, if it is just going to be spring and summer finals, I need them to announce these soon, okay? Because the logistics of this, you want to make sure that people have the most amount of time possible to travel and get ready to go and visit the product. And also, to be very clear, these don't have to be in front of 7,000 people arenas like finals was, okay? You can get away with a 3,000 person arena. I mean, hell, even where we held Worlds here in New York, that was 5,000 people capacity at most. Hell, I'm fine with even going down to 2,000 in a nice theater. I went to a Call of Duty major that was held in, I think it was the Brooklyn Paramount Theater, if I'm not mistaken. It was somewhere out in Brooklyn that had like a 2,000 person capacity. That was great. The environment, the energy was fantastic. You don't need more than that sometimes. And we just got to figure out a way to make that work and make it profitable, whether it's like selling better merchandise there, whatever it might be. I don't care. The fact that we are getting more road trips is great. Now let's scale these appropriately for the markets that they're in, because I don't want to see any empty seats no matter where we're going. But regardless, more times outside of LA in that studio and the closet, the better. Thank God. But that's not just it. I was shocked to hear that we are still having a tournament with CB Lowell. So what's happening here is the week before First Stand, where only one team from both CB Lowell and the LCS go, the 2 and 3 seeds will also go and play a tournament against each other. So CB Lowell versus LCS. While there's technically nothing on the line for this tournament, because if I'm reading this right, Riot will provide fully funded boot camps in Korea during MSI for the 3rd place LCS team from spring, because our top 2 teams will be going to MSI, and the 2nd and 3rd place team from CB Lowell. Oh, and the winner of the America's Cup. There's the kicker. So the caveat to this is, say you finish 2nd or 3rd in your domestic league in, well, lock-in tournament and winner, whatever you want to call it, and then you go on to win the America's Cup, but you notably don't finish top 2 or top 3, you get a boot camp still paid for you to go out to Korea, or it's given to the next team up in your particular region. So the LCS could send 4 teams to MSI, 2 to play, 2 to train, which I love this in terms of competition. Because let's be clear, I had a whole video bashing on boot camps, which I think are still not an effective way to practice at the beginning of the year whenever we're not even playing on the current patch. However, these happening during MSI, and notably before summer split, that's the time that you go and boot camp. Like, that's the time that you go and practice. And yes, it's not going to be against T1 and Gen G, because they'll be at the Esports World Cup and they'll be at MSI, like playing against better teams. You're not going to be scrimming those guys, but you'll get better solo queue and better practice. Yeah, sure, absolutely. And the biggest thing with all this, I will still regurgitate, is that teams need to understand how you make bootcamp content, okay? You need to make sure that when North American fans are waking up in the morning, they have something sitting in their sub box, something sitting on their feed that they can watch each and every time. You need to be catering to the NA fans, not the international crowd, even when you are boot camping. I don't think we've figured that one out yet, but with 4 teams going, you better find a way. That's all I'm saying. But regardless, a fantastic update. Something that very much teams, I think, will appreciate. The fact that they don't have to pay for it, that's thousands upon thousands of dollars saved. I'm assuming that's where the prize pool money went, which notably got cut and was the last video on this channel. But that's also not everything. LCS Fantasy is going to be updated to notably only include, regionally split out LCS and CB Lowell. So we no longer have to worry about watching the sound to play Fantasy, which I think is a much needed change from last year, because I couldn't be bothered to watch what the CB Lowell had going on and base my fantasy on that. Now it's just entirely knowledge of the LCS. That site goes live by the time you're seeing this video, probably in like 12 hours, less than 12 hours, probably like 8 hours, give or take. As always, join my Discord. We are going to have some sort of like tournament leaderboard, assuming it's the same as it was last year. Everybody just joins up, and the winner or person that gets first place will get a free skin. I will pay for a prize. And last, there's a tier 2 update, basically, well, not update, but them just basically saying, hey, it'll be back in March. See our prior update. I'm sure tier 2 fans are not happy about that one in particular, because you're just sitting there for 2 months doing pretty much nothing at this point. But, you know, we got to win on the tier 1 side. I'll take any W where we can get them. So let's go back to that report card. Let's revisit the grades and see if they are appropriate. First, the LCS returning grade A. Yep, remains exactly the same. Return to 10 teams. Nope. Still getting a D on that. I still think the league would be better with 10 teams. I think 8, it just still feels too low, even if the ecosystem, financially might be better with 8 from a competitor, from an entertainment point of view. I'm sorry, 10 just always felt better. Okay. Even if there were some perennial shitters, by all means, I understand there would be. If anything, bring back promotion relegation for like multiple teams rather than just like the one and figure out a way there. I don't know. I'm still not the biggest fan of this only being an 8-team league. That still bugs me a little bit compared to the LEC, which now has 12 in their spring split. Like, come on. Number 3, more games beyond a return to 2024's format. In hindsight, I think I gave this a D. I'm actually going to give it an A on this because we apparently are getting more days. I think the lock-in tournament is really, really good. I like the format of this. I like the return to 2024 in certain areas. And again, we'll touch on the Roadshows in a bit here, but that does play a part in it. So I will give them an A. It is more games, and I'm genuinely excited about this lock-in format. Simpler and better formats, already gave them an A. 3 teams at Worlds, A+, already got it. 100 Thieves replacement, well, that came out afterwards, and Sentinels has been doing a pretty good job in their content, so I will say A. And more Roadshows. I will give this an A-. You only get the A if you were able to give me any sort of detail or further information. I'm happy that they're back, and a promise is a promise, and I'm going to be holding you to that, Riot. But I want those details as soon as possible. I want to be able to plan, okay? I already have to plan for Worlds and everything there. If you want me to try and see if I can negotiate with teams and beyond, like, hey, would you be willing to pay for a flight out? Or more importantly, the thing that I want to push, let's have an annual week here in New York, or annual weekend here in New York, okay? I think that'd be fantastic, and we could easily fill up a 3,000 person theater each and every single year that you come here, and it would be great for the scene here. All right, it would go a very, very long way. So I'm just saying A-. I wanted more details, but obviously I'm happy that they're back in general. I can't dock that much, but the lack of information does kind of suck. The reason why I brought this report card back is because there was somebody in the comments that noted to me, like, would you revise your grades if more came out? And the simple answer is yes. I want to give praise where it's due. These are all fantastic changes for the league and for the hype of North America, as is seen by people being very optimistic about this. Now, the question becomes, will it be enough? Okay. It's a positive first step. It is great momentum. Now, honestly, the responsibility does fall on all of us. Okay. I think what is being put in front of us from Riot's side is a good format, is a good structure, is good promises and incentives of things to be excited for going into the future. It is now on us, the fans, to tell our friends about it, to get people into it, to encourage others to watch, to invite your friends out to local bars to see. That was the one thing that was missing from this. Again, I did hear last year that they were working on a watch party program where they would partner with local bars in some of the major metro areas and help give people a spot to go in person. I didn't hear anything about that here, and there's been no update anywhere, and we're a week and a half away from things kicking off. So look, maybe that will come in the future. It hasn't as of right now. So that part kind of sucks. But regardless, we could still do it independently. And I just want people to understand that our job as fans is to make sure that we engage with the product. Tweet out about your teams, like posts. I mentioned it previously about like the Busio stuff and his streaming numbers. Well, guess what? You know how we get up there is we raise genuine awareness for this league and we get people excited for it. And that's where we, the fans, come in. Now is our time to shine and show people why it's fun to be a fan of this. Show them why it's fun to engage with the product, both online and in person, and grow this thing back. Don't worry about the viewership numbers. I will track everything there. We'll talk about it if it becomes a problem. But our goal should be to try and hit 100,000 concurrent in summer. Yes, you heard me, in summer, when normally it drops off and falls off a little bit. No, I want to continue this momentum, especially if we do have road trips that might be a part of this. So please, by all means, do our part now, because Riot, to their credit, has very much done theirs. And the teams, via content, are hopefully going to do theirs whenever the season is ongoing. Now, it's on us. Riot, thank you for listening. Like, genuinely thank you. Like, this is one of the first, addresses that we've had in, 3 or 4 years that, beyond just the relief of getting information that we knew that we needed, it felt like they were not only listening, but implementing that feedback in tangible and meaningful ways. I love it. I absolutely love it. I cannot wait to kick this league off next Saturday, January 24th. But obviously, you'll have a lot of content in the meantime around here. So be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.